big power picks that can be picked up, but it does mean that for the side of RNG, they could first pick something like the Viego, and for Wei, the Viego's just his best pick, and by far in terms of domestic and of course internationally. We even saw it in the last game. He's just very, very solid on this guy.
Yeah, and even fall back like things like the Ezreal for Gala if you want to. That's been his comfort as well, especially when the Lucian's gone. But there's the Ezreal ban, which means it should be the Ahri picked up for Xiaohu, and we'll have to see if they're going to continue on this stretch, because with the Ahri, you get Wei maybe onto, unfortunately for Ox, something like the Volibear, and see if he can have that early damage towards the mid lane.
Hovering it right now. Haven't locked it in just yet. They are thinking about it, and maybe, you know, they want to try and take some practice against it. Maybe they prioritize something a little bit higher. We would imagine this would be getting locked in here. So again, Xiaohu on something that can roam, that has kill pressure in the mid lane, and also just has an awful lot of skill expression as well.
So we are actually going to get the Veigar, it looks like. This is something that has been around a while, where you're able to try it. We actually saw Angel over in the LPL play this a lot as well as a counter towards Xiaohu when he got this pick, and can just look to control the lane, you know, wrap up this Ahri, make it a little bit tougher for her to have this mobility in team fights. But actually going to swap over last second over towards the Vex, another champion again that's just about trying to minimize the damage that can be done with these Ahri dashes.
Not only that as well, it can minimize the Ahri dashes, of course, with the personal space and the passive fear, but you also have the Shadow Surge for a little bit of an engage. So getting in on top of with a strong skirmishing jungler can be very, very good, especially if this Viego's locked.
Yeah, it looks like it would take the Viego, which means I'll probably see Wei go over towards the Lee Sin. You see Juhan kind of going back and forth between what side of the match he wanted to go on. The Lee Sin has the stronger early game and can actually look for these 1v1s if you can get the invade off in the enemy jungle. So you see Juhan teetering on which side he wanted, but I think taking the Viego for Wei is definitely the better side of this coin.
I'm gonna go hover through a couple of different things. We've seen the Kalista banned an awful lot. We haven't actually seen it picked, so if that does end up getting locked in, I am very excited to see what Gala is able to do. And yes, we do end up getting it. So very, very aggressive bot lane coming out here for RNG.
Now, I will just say, we are LPL.
Yes.
We do have the Shine, who does play this in the top side. I'm just putting the caveat there. But no, I mean, look, chances are this is going to go towards Gala. I'm not sure, though, if that's your best call here for RNG, especially when you already see the Vex locked in. Like, having these short-range compositions can cause issues if you end up with the Vex in your midst, but we'll have to see what the plan is going to be. It is going to be the Gwen locked in for being in that top side, though. This is something that oftentimes does get a banned away from alongside the Camille, so getting that comfort for each of your 3 lanes seems to be the game plan here for RNG.
And the last time we saw Gala, he actually only played it 7 times in his career. He's a 6-1 win rate, so he's pretty damn good on the champion. Last time we saw it was in summer 2021, the regular split up against LGD, and it was, of course, a win. So we'll see what else they want to try and combo this up with. But again, like you said, bit of variety. Maybe we get the Kalista top. It's very unlikely now that Gwen is locked in, but I always hold out hope because the RNG and LPL in general love to keep things a little bit spicy.
Yeah. It does feel like, though, you're still going to, like, struggle a little bit with this composition from RNG, right? You have a ton of dive presence coming out from PSG. Akali can actually do relatively well into the matchup against the Gwen in that top side as well. So it feels like, at least the moment, PSG coming in with a really strong draft, and that felt to me like the difference maker yesterday, where PSG were setting up for these really coordinated fights that could work well. We'll have to see if they can do the similar story here against RNG on their second round.
Now we are going to start seeing those 80 carries being banned away. Things that can just deal with the Kalista very easily. Tristana's a very good one. Maybe even something like the Kaisa that has a lot of safety. Something that can just kind of, you know, again, later in the game, jump on you and just delete you from the map. That's generally the general gist of where you want to try and take away from the enemy bot side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the plan is. Like, you could always go towards something like the Aphelios as well if you wanted to. Unified has brought that out before. I'm not the biggest fan. I think Aphelios has kind of shifted out of the meta at this stage, but Unified has been favoring that champion. Maybe you go towards something like the Jhin as well. Just be like, hey, look, I'm long range engage. I'm just going to follow up on whatever the rest of you guys are doing. But we'll have to see, as it will be the Lee Sin and the Volibear banned away. So Wei will more than likely go back towards something like the Jarvan or one of these picks that can provide that engage to him in the early stages. Because realistically, with this draft from RNG, with the Kalista, you need to hit the ground running on that bot lane.
Absolutely. You're going to need to have some very, very early aggression because, yes, the Kalista can be absolutely insane in terms of objectives and, of course, in terms of early early skirmishing, but the later the game goes, the more we start to see her fall off, because again, she's quite a short-ranged AD carry. Something that not a lot of people seem to remember is that she is very, very close to her opponents, especially when you have things like a Vex, a Kali, and a Viego. That's when this starts to get a little bit funky.
Yeah, massive lane bully as well. You can actually see with the support locked in, we're going to wait to find out exactly what that AD carry is going to be. And it feels like, as we said, they're not sure if this is going to be something that gets flexed around a little bit. So we'll have to see exactly what the story is. Gala hovering the Aphelios at the moment, but honestly, I think you're probably looking at the Nautilus for Ming again. He's been perfectly happy to play this Nautilus into the Leona matchup, and I mean, there we go, yeah.
Yeah, we were holding our breath ever so slightly, but yeah, the Fate's Call comboed up with the Nautilus. It literally sets itself up, but the Nocturne locked in now this time around. So actually gonna wait to see that thing. I think there's keeping PSG on their toes, saying, is it a Kalista top?
Yeah, I mean, look, well, at this stage, you're not going to be playing any of the other champions realistically in support, so we can pretty safely assume this Kalista. The big question for me, though, is like, you're going for this Kalista who wants to play aggressive in lane. Now you've got this Nocturne who wants to hit level 6 before he really becomes a big threat for these fights. So that's where I'm kind of looking, going, okay, well, you don't really have tools that can enable Kalista, so a lot of what Wei is probably going to be doing is trying to hover around this bottom side to make sure that he's going to be perfectly safe. And now you've got that Shen as well, which will also be playing around in the bottom side of the map, which should do reasonably well against some of the more auto-attack heavy champions, but with the Samira left open, she can run wild in this composition.
Yeah, this is going to be, I would imagine, a Shen support in the bot side, and it's very much something that we haven't seen in a very long time coming out here from RNG, but it's going to be locked instead of going with the Samira. They're going to go for the Kalista, or sorry, not the Kalista, excuse me, the Kaisa. A lot of K's in the bot lane, but both teams come to going with it. I feel like RNG, they are looking to go absolutely ham within the first 15 minutes of the game. And if they don't find those advantages, this game gets really, really hard very, very fast.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm kind of a little bit worried about this, when you're actually able to go, hey, look, realistically, you have the Samira who can, or well, the Kaisa as well, that can still do a really, really good job of getting into these fights, like decent peel as well from things like the Nocturne. And I feel like a lot of what you're going to be trying to do here is like pushing very aggressively with Gala in that bot side. Maybe look for Ming to roam, maybe look for Ming to kind of be a part of this engage to a Wei. And I think if Wei is going to go for like the more lethality oriented build rather than the Stride Breaker that we've been seeing a lot of the times, that's where you can actually set up Wei to be a threat in his own right with this Shen.
And this does feel just RNG saying, look, we can get absolute hands on this and kind of go for it. And we can look at Shen for Ming. It is a 20-game kind of career with it, 15-5. Last time we saw him play it was actually into Demacia Cup in 2019. So it's been a hum in terms of like LPL summer 2018. So it's been a very long time since we've seen this man on this pick in competitive. But at the same time, it's Ming and it's a hard engaged champ. We are pretty damn confident he's going to be just as good.
Yeah, I mean, something that also has a lot of damage in these early stages as well, right? So oftentimes you'll end up running the Hex Flash with this, and you use that taunt in the early stages. You end up being able to, especially with your Q, deal a good brunt of upfront damage at the early point of this game. So we'll have to see if Ming is going to be able to find those engages, upset Unified a little bit, especially if you've got Gala beside him. That's a lot of damage that can come through very quickly.
They're going to try and force themselves up the top side. They're not going to find anything. Just drop a ward in case someone was there. Maybe they could go for a flash taunt, but it's not going to be needed. And actually, interesting enough, Unified going with the cleanse, as is Gala. So Gala, both AD carries basically saying, look, we're not going to be trying to exhaust and get you off us. It's basically pure survivability in that bot side.
Yeah, also surprised to see the lethal tempo rather than the Halo Blades. It's something that you see quite a bit for the Kalista, just to heavily invest in these early stages and really go toe-to-toe, especially against the Kalista, who's also going to run the Halo Blades. But we'll give a little bit of a nicer mid-game to this Kalista. So we'll have to see exactly how RNG are going to try and set themselves up on this bottom side of the map.
I'm curious to see where Wei goes as well. Nocturne, a very good champion to just farming up until 6, but if you're able to make stuff work for you on the side of PSG with Juhan, and of course with this this combination of the Vex and the Akali, you have an awful lot of good damage and setup, as we do get a slight pause just as everything kind of jumps in, so hopefully that will be rectified as soon as possible. But thankfully, in this pause, nobody's doing anything, so it's not going to affect the game at its core.
I don't know. I mean, that blast cone.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew it.
Yeah. You've worked with me for too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long. That blast cone becoming a big issue. But yeah, hopefully whatever the issue is gets rectified as soon as possible. For PSG, we can kind of talk about how they've kind of come into the split even as a whole, considering, you know, their PCS and of course an MSI. And it does feel like it was kind of dominant lull into the playoffs, and they've slowly but surely just been ramping back up. They turned off the engine, now they can turn it back on, build up that speed.
Yeah, and a large portion of that was when they got into playoffs, just not having that same strength from Unified and Kaiwing, and not being able to find the success that they had previously, where Unified and Kaiwing have been so dominant in the bot lane. But when they got into playoffs, even in their series against CFO, Flying Oysters, that they end up going 3-1. Unified and Kaiwing just couldn't find the presence that they needed. Actually got a lot of jungle attention as well. And that was where you start to see, oh, well, maybe CFO are actually the big winners coming into finals. This is the team we should be keeping our eyes on. And went to 5 games, just about able to see PSG Talon eke that one out. And over the course of even MSI, we've seen Unified and Kaiwing have some wonderful games, have some not so hot games, and that's why I think a lot of the question marks are still on PSG Talent. Was we didn't get the best of starts from you guys. Like, how have you grown coming into this tournament? Have we got the kind of dust settling in a good place for you?
Absolutely, and I think as well, talking about the analyst desk, the divide between our host and analyst, the analysts were saying, look, they have a chance. They have got an opportunity to maybe take that 4th seed going into playoffs, or excuse me, into knockouts as such, and try and maybe make something work for them there. That's big words as well, considering that, again, we kind of just sometimes go into these tournaments and say, okay, well, it's just going to be LCK, LPL, LEC, and then LCS. But again, you can't really count them out, and if they can continue to build up this momentum, they can continue to try and find opportunities for themselves. This could be an opportunity for PSG to again upset the rota and go for something like a top 4 finish.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is tough though. I mean, you are going up against some serious legacy organizations, even in RNG, right? Like 2 World Finals appearances, like Royal Club and Sarah Royal Club back in 2013, 2014, and they have 4 LPL championships.
5 now.
5 LPL championships, of course. Yeah, now you've got an MSI tournament underneath your belt as well. Like, it's not exactly like this is a team that's a bit of a pushover, and I think that's why so many people are kind of looking at this going, hey, look, can PSG Talon take a game here? Because they were so close yesterday. You just have to see if they're going to be able to push it across the finish line.
Yeah, and I love how you bring that up in terms of the history of RNG. RNG, legacy org within the LPL and internationally as well. There was the Golden Road in 2018 where they had won Asian Games. They were going as if they were going to win absolutely everything. Of course, weren't able to do it. It was IG in 2018 to lift the trophy. But they, of course, the first LPL organization to do that as well. So it does feel like, again, for the LPL, they're just getting stronger and stronger. Yes, we, of course, talk about the LCK dominance, and we can, you know, look at some of these organizations, people like Faker who've been playing for nearly 10 years, but their LPL's building its own legacy. Xiaohu has been around for so long. In fact, every single RNG championship has come in a roster that Xiaohu was in.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you're starting to see new guys create their name as well for themselves, right? Like, Bing last year comes in with, or in 2020 even comes in with Suning, ends up getting the first ever World Finals pentakill for himself on the Fiora. Like, you're starting to see the new, I'll say, quote unquote, like, players in the LPL make a name for themselves on the international stage too.
Well, we are back into game. Whatever was the issue has been rectified, and we're hopefully going to have a smooth sailing experience as we go into this one now. As yes, the Akali was picked into the Gwen. It is a traditional counter to it, but this is how level 1 to 3 goes. You don't really have any priority as the Akali. You just kind of have to sit there, accept that you're going to get bullied out, and hope and pray that you can come back into it.
And that's why we saw RNG go for that level 1 ward that seems so long ago at this stage in that top side, because what you want to do is actually deny Akali access to the wave, and oftentimes she'll hide in the bush, maybe she'll hide in the alcove, but you want to make sure that Bin still has his ward for himself in case he gets these early ganks from Juhan. So at least RNG aware of how they can play around this matchup in the early stages and get Bin as much an advantage as possible.
Well, Wei gets spotted out, does know that he's been spotted out, so the information you have, you can maybe try and mess around with a little bit more, but does mean they know exactly where his pathing is going. That's good for Juhan. Juhan on this Viego is going to be able to kind of clear up towards his top side. Know the top scuttle is going to be pretty free for him to be able to take, but now Ming going to be able to try and scout out that information himself and just say, yep, we know all these camps are gone, and that means the Viego's top side.
Yeah, and that's exactly why Bin going to try and crash this third wave and make sure he's not sitting vulnerable in this top side. You don't really have control over the mid as well, but at least from the Nocturne's perspective, all you want to do is just fast clear your jungle, so as long as your waves are safe, you're totally fine.
Yep, you want to get that paranoia, and And a themed ultimate, one of my personal favorites, because it does actually do exactly as it says on the tin. As soon as that Nocturne ult turns off the lights, you're like, where is he? What's going on? And where can we go? But now Bin actually going to use that crash to just try and get priority onto this scuttle. Going to be difficult, as Juhan is going to have the smite advantage, but won't really want to be going full skirmishing. It's level 4 versus level 4. You will have the Conqueror getting stacked up. Ignite is available for Bin if you want to go for it. It's a little bit of a 1v1, but it's going to turn into 2v1 very soon. Ignite goes down. The flash has to come out from Juhan and to get himself away. But in the mid lane, we see Wei going in and helping out Xiaohu.
I mean, there's action across the board there, and RNG, they don't get the kill on top side. Bin will be forced to reset, but you deny the scuttle from Juhan. You kill Bei in mid, and just a nice start for RNG.
Yeah, the action across the map, and this is a new type of RNG where they're being very, very proactive in the early game. We always kind of said that, oh, we're going to see a full engage here as the flash. Tom comes in, Unified trying to flash away, but he cannot escape from the Gala Kalista. They're going to be able to put these spears into Kaiwing. He needs to be careful to not stack them up too much, because as you can see, that burst damage is a lot! And he flashes away to make sure he doesn't get another auto attack down.
Juhan is here though. Now you've got no flashes at all in this bot side. Gala's got a face check.
He's going to try and go for it, but he's going to try and have to get away from this one. Doesn't have flash or cleanse. They're going to taunt down in onto Juhan.
Oh,
Juhan's in a lot of trouble. They've got the Spirit's Refuge. Ming, not quite got the damage. No mana on Gala to burst him out. And this is just, again, good domination from RNG in this early side.
Yeah, Juhan needs to be careful though. Xiaohu fishing over the wall, seeing if he can test him on the Grump. Smite is available, and if he gets Grump, Juhan should return to very healthy proportions on that health bar, but still got to be careful. Xiaohu's hunting.
He's hunting, but he has been spotted, and now he knows he's been spotted as he just have the pink ward there. They should be able to take that one out. But again, good early proactive play, and that's exactly what we wanted to see from RNG.
And it's given the opportunity for Nocturne to invade on top side as well, because they know Juhan is on bot lane. So nice job from RNG, already getting that 1500 gold lead for themselves, and it's going to be a nice bit of gold in their back pocket, and to kind of just wait for Wei to hit this level 6 so they can get even more proactive.
This is going to be a big thing. Let's have a look at the move in mid lane. And again, it's just Bei. He's no mana. He's just way too extended. Think he's getting a good trade. And yeah, he doesn't even flash. He knows he's just going to die.
Yeah, I mean, overextension from Bei. Wei just in a good position. And you know that you're going to end up with the jungler on bot side scuttle, because they're not helping Bin on the top side. And here, this is the strength of that Shen. Flashes in with the taunt. The damage from the Shen in these early stages is so incredibly high, and Kaiwing really just can't match that.
And I gotta say, Unified did everything he possibly could there as well. He was cleansed immediately. He was moving backwards. He flashed off. Doesn't quite keep himself alive in that particular skirmish, and it does mean there's an advantage in bot side. And now Xiaohu is just kind of using this early priority as the Akali almost gets taken down by the needlework. Xiaohu ult could be there. The Spirit Rush goes in. The Orb of Deception is good. Now Juhan will dodge away from the charm. As you can see, Bei coming in. He had a Shadow Surge. Don't need a turret, but it's already 2 kills. Bei, I don't think there's much you can do here. You're going to actually get dodged out. The Shadow Surge is not good. The flash is, however, and he gets himself on the tower. Now a TP can come in from Azzy as he tries to just defend his mid laner, but this is just, again, RNG, strength to strength, not giving PSG room to breathe.
I mean, they've learned from yesterday, right? They gave PSG these opportunities to come into the game, match them on some of these plays, but right now, RNG are dominating the map. 2 kills for the mid laner. They don't land some of these charms on top side, which could have given some more kills to Bin, but they're controlling all the pace of the game.
Oh, they're going to catch on the Unified there, and you can see just how much damage they're able to put down with this Kalista. You are dead, rendered redundant. Is Kaiwing down to about half his HP as well. This is why Kalista can just be so unbelievably obnoxious.
And now as RNG, you basically get to have what has been your dominant control of basically every game they played in MSI. You look at their first blood rate, 100%. You look at their dragon rate, 93%. Like, they have been so incredibly strong throughout this.
Wei's looking for a wraparound, and he's going to find it. The paranoia comes down. He gets some decent damage here, and Juhan's in a lot of trouble, and he is dead. Unified trying to put down some back-end damage, but Gala's just too big, and with all the pressure you have in mid, there's just no way that Bei can join.
And this has got to be comforting but slightly terrifying for Red Cannons as well. Any fan is going, yeah, RG, get them, but
look,
you know, don't get them that hard, because now we got to face you next and you look real angry.
Look at the wave that Unified is missing right now. It is huge, and he doesn't know where Wei is. Now he does, so now he feels a little bit more confident to walk up, but that was just, I think that was like 20 minions or something like that. It was absurd.
And you've even got the quick reset coming through from Gala as well, so he's looking to shove in this wave. Then he can always rotate up through River towards Rift Herald, which is where the ping's already going down for RNG. And it just feels like you already have so much control. Level 6 to level 4 for the supports.
Oh, the charm does land, but Xiaohu knows that there's a Juhan on his way to this mid lane, and Xiaohu doesn't mind going a bit behind in CS. He knows that his job on this Ahri is to facilitate and move around the map.
But it's also because he has Ming, right? Ming has hit the ultimate, so he has the opportunity to join in with the Stand United. So Xiaohu gets to play this a little bit more aggressive. Go on, just have a quick glance. What do you think you can take here? Because I've got backup galore.
That's the big thing. The Stand United can do so well just to turn what you think is a 2v1 or even a 3v2 into a 3v3 or maybe even more. So you have to be so very careful rushing the Merc Treads on Ming as well, because he knows that he needs to be the facilitator, he needs to be the engage alongside that Nocturne to go for those big dives.
And now you have to be careful as PSG, because you know RNG are going to start looking for this Rift Herald on the top side. You can already see Wave about to start that one up. Kalista just hovering up into River. But I don't know if you can really trade on towards Dragon, because, I mean, you've got good presence on bot side.
Hello, Ming.
Gala's also in position, and I mean, you have TP advantage for Bin.
Yeah, you do, but you will have to TP to a ward. Remember, it's not unleashed just yet, and it would be very difficult for Ming to make this one work. They have the paranoia. They were able to get in line, but it looks like it is just going to be a trade of Rift Herald for Dragon. And this has been a fun little adaptation for RNG. We've seen them a lot more, especially in the LPL. They would hard force around those Dragons because the meta dictated that you would look for those 5v5s, the Jinx of Felios bot lane. Now that we're seeing a lot less of those AD carries, we're seeing an awful lot more of just getting the Rift Herald, getting those early stats.
I'm not going to lie. They have a 93% Dragon.
They still have it.
So
yeah, they still have it. But I do notice they go for Rift Herald first.
I mean, they were just dominant across the board for every objective in the LPL. Like, the Rift Herald was, I think, 3rd in the league. Their Dragons were 2nd in the league. Like, they were just the neutral objective guys. And I think this is why they've been so hard to play against them, right? Because it just feels like they're willing to play the map super well to set up for these objectives, get themselves in control. Like, RNG are just so focused on these neutrals as a win condition that teams very often struggle to get a look in against them.
It's a 5,000 gold lead. 10.5 minutes into the game. 20 CS in top side, 20 CS in bot lane. Hell, 20, nearly 30 CS in the jungle. It's getting very, very difficult to kind of see a silver lining here for PSG. And this can be a little bit of a strange one as well when we look to it further. Because again, we talked about this, how PSG were picking up momentum. How the last time these guys met yesterday, it was a very close matchup. But RNG seemed to have made the adaptation. They say, look, we know how you want to fight, and we're just going to go back at it.
It also felt like, at least from PSG's side, they had a very deliberate team fight, right? Very easy front to back fight to work with, but not the case this time. And now Ming is looking to move in on bot.
Gonna look for moving on bot, but we're already in the mid lane. We can see there's the ultimate coming down from the Nocturne. They land the charm, and that's Xiaohu 3-0-1. RNG are just suffocating PSG. There's nowhere for them to go. There's nothing for them to do. There's a 2-man taunted bot side as the flash comes in. Unified tries to flash away, but I think he's just dead. Ming perfectly tanks up the turret, and they get both bot laners out. Now Juhan trying to run away from Xiaohu, but Gala's saying, look, we can stop this minion wave because they're just losing so much. They're trying to see if they can get safety in numbers, but Shelly has arrived. What was a 4v2 is now a 4v5 or 5v2 as they get the ultimate from Shen as well. Gala finally falls down. Juhan is way, way away from home, and he's going to be falling down. It's 1 kill over to PSG. And after that, it's just all RNG.
And I mean, Kaiwing will get the shutdown, but does it really matter? This Leona isn't going to carry you the game. And now, with Shelly already getting the turn on bot side, Xiaohu starts to walk up. They should get one more charge onto this bot lane turret as well. And RNG 10-1, the gold lead is so damn big.
You can't really defend this as Unified. It's a level 10 Ahri, which means if you get charmed, you're almost going to die. The Spirit Rush not quite available, but Unified has to back away. They can maybe deal with Xiaohu. He's going to have Spirit Rush soon. He can get out.
But this is the problem. I mean, look at where all the advantages are for RNG, right? You're looking at the big level lead in the bot side for Gala. The level lead for the sports at least has been added up a little bit, but...
I mean, it's a fight on two fronts. It's a 2v1 on the top side for Kaiwing, a 2v1 for Xiaohu, but Xiaohu's actually coming out the better of this particular skirmish. Gala saying, hey guys, wait for me. I can be a part of this, but no, Kaiwing shall be taken out, and Bay gets solo killed. RNG heard people chatting smack about their game yesterday, and they are dominating.
Yeah, this is so well orchestrated from RNG. I mean, the lanes coming out huge. Gala and Ming taking over in the 2v2. You've been, who's been demolishing the top side as well with that 30 CS lead. Xiaohu has been getting the help from Wei to take over from the mid lane. And I mean, what do you do here? Unified. There's nothing. There's no help that can come through. Ming has been able to land these these dashes so effectively with the flash. And unfortunately, Kaiwing just uses the engage that little bit too quickly, and they can't stop Gala from following up.
It's just so hard. You drop Shelly down. Kaiwing will get a trade back, which is great for him, of course. The tower doing a little bit of extra help as well, considering Gala did take aggro, but this is just so much. If you look at picture-in-picture, you can see now they're trying to go for something in the mid lane, and the Paranoia comes out to get them the short vision, and they're going to try and invade on this inside of RNG. The Shadow Surge went completely wide as Juhan gets himself out to try and make something work, but the Fate's Call knocks him back up. He gets charmed back up. It's a bit messy, but now it's the Kalista trying to do some damage. RNG are going to be joined up with Bin, who's been playing PvE, and he's absolutely massive with this Rift Maker. PSG tried to go for a 5v4, and they still can't do it.
And that's the thing, Kaiwing is your only source of engage for PSG, so if you're able to follow up, that's great, but once he falls, you can't get any sort of follow-up engage because RNG are able to back away so effectively, and
wow.
I mean, that says it all.
Ming has more gold than anyone on the side of PSG. Wow. It's just absolute domination. I don't know how to say it.
It's over 10,000 gold
14 minutes.
At 14 minutes. I mean, they're nearly at a kill a minute.
And they're still looking for some right now as Juhan gets charmed up. He's going to try and maybe get the Spirit Rush out of...
They're at a kill a minute.
They are, and this is a scary RNG right now. We saw this from T1 against A's where they absolutely smashed them, and there's nothing else you can talk about because it just becomes hard to watch. This is technically the possibly the second best team in this group, and you are just wrecking them.
And I mean, even the desk was talking about it, right? They were like, hey, maybe this is a team that has the opportunity to go for top 4. And, ooh, boy, that ain't looking so hot. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is still looking hot, but RNG are looking real strong.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe RNG and T1 in the finals, but top 4 could be fine.
Yeah, I mean, this just shows... This is why, when we talk about, like, the LPL teams, what they are capable of when they're just on fire. Like, it is an absolute different beast, and it may not always be the cleanest, they may not always come out with these sort of plays, but when you actually get them on the days where they really want to show off, this is what we often see.
And this is a scary moment because, again, a lot of these picks, especially in the jungle and the bot lane, aren't exactly things we've seen RNG on in a very long time. They're just showing this wealth of champion knowledge and champion experience to say, look, it doesn't matter what we pick. We are still going to understand our win conditions, and we're still going to be able to execute on them.
Yeah, especially when you look towards, like, Gala. We've always seen him traditionally as, like, the kind of later game carry for RNG, where he will pop off on, like, the Kai'Sas in the later portion of the game, the Aphelios, the Jinxes, that we've seen this split as well. The Ezreal to a certain extent as well, right? Like, he's going to be your late game carry, but him popping off with Ming with this super aggressive bot lane also shows a different facet.
Yeah, got the Quinzu's Rage Blade alongside that Immortal Shield bow, so he is at peak fitness. You may not like it, you may not think it is what it is, but that is what peak 80 carry fitness looks like, especially if you're a Kalista. And this is just going to be so difficult to do. You don't even have an item as Unified. I mean,
oh, no, they're going to be able to back away.
Is that a triple pink? No, it's double pinked, okay.
I will say, I mean, I feel like Kalista by default has to be the most fit AD carry with all the jumping back and forth she does, like legs of steel.
Absolutely, leg day is every day if you're Kalista. We can see the Shadow Surge come in, but I don't think you can really commit to that one, Bane. Here comes the Paranoia, so they're going to say, hey, we'll take the fight to you, and there's going to be the Gwen going straight in onto the backside to just try and stop Unified. Asi will eventually tumble his way out. What can you do? They are actually got Shelly. They could end the game at 17.5 minutes.
That would be absolutely insane. RNG trying to make that statement game here against PSG Talon. I mean, Inhibitor's going to fall, and they're just going to keep going.
They can keep doing it. You have a Kalista, you have a Gwen. You are just unbelievably powerful right now. You don't have the perfect execution. How does the Akali get in? Nexus turret number 1 goes down. You've got one turret and a Nexus. Here we go. RNG, you're going to try and deal with PSG as they look to try and respawn. The flashes come in. The center plate is good. Heartbreaker means that Juhan has a flash immediately back out. They won't end the game just here. But my God, RNG, they are looking terrifying.
I mean, that Nexus Turret already gone, one left standing, and it's hurting just a bit. RNG are considering backing away, but I think they were just looking for the wave.
You've got the Shen ultimate as well, so you've got some bit of... You can't deal with the waves, you can't deal with the rest of the map, and RNG are saying, look, it's only one tower, we can go for this right now. We've got a Kalista, here we go. PSG looking for one last fight. We're going to see them a little bit of skirmishing on the back. Bay looking for a reset to get a charm down onto the Akali, and the Akali will fall. The needlework is almost there. No! It's actually Xiaohu who falls down, and it's the Gwen as well. The charm comes out, and it's Kalista. RNG took too big of a bite, and they ended up choking it.
And you end up giving everything that is your strength across. The Juhan as well picks up the Ari, hits the charm, Gala falls, and just like that, PSG get a good chunk of gold back in their favor, but they are still 12,000 gold behind. That turret is still very low in their base, and Ming...
Oh, he's looking for him. They're going to try and get the taunt down with the paranoia, and there's nowhere for Juhan to go. It was a nice defense, but at the end of the day, that's all it really was.
I mean, look, it feels still inevitable that RNG are going to be able to win this, and I mean, for Red Cannons, you're like, woo, let's go. I mean, look, we have a chance now. We can maybe push it.
And then you see the result and go, I don't know if I want to play against this. And don't forget, Red are the team that Gala picked up technically his first pentakill twice of the tournament. So we never look here. It just goes a little bit too far forward, and you can see that RNG, they think they have caught out the Akali, but they don't have the damage to finish it off.
Yeah, I mean, Bin actually getting CC'd up here by Kaiwing was the difference maker. Couldn't get all these ult stacks off, as you can see there, so can't burst out Unified, and also the Akali, who are locked up by the Everfrost from Xiaohu, so they end up backing away. Very furious head bobbing coming in from Bin, you know, just going like absolute mental, but sure.
I think he also realized it was just like, all right, I'm going to laugh at this. We're going to have maybe the final fight. The Kalista is dead, and as is the Ari, so your damage is severely mitigated here. Bin trying to work on the backside of this, and Juhan using that Kalista and the Heartbreaker gets himself a triple kill. Will not be able to pick up. Not this time, as the Gwen is just too damn good. Ming is actively just playing against the Kai'Sa and keeping her away. They're trying to end. Honestly, at this stage, they wanted the fastest game. It's not going to happen now. They're going to go off and get all the neutral objectives.
I mean, it's about time at this stage. I mean, it's kind of been just tossing yourself into the void. PSG, I mean, they picked up some nice little goals for themselves. At least Juhan getting that triple kill as well means he'll be able to finish off his Divine Sunder. But as you said, right, like you've still got decent scaling here for RNG, at least coming into this mid-game portion where you're looking at nearly 3 items for Gala. Azzy, though, will start to push Bin away. But look, if RNG keep this up, I think that's where we start to have a different conversation.
If you do this like 4 or 5 more times and the inhibitor respawns, they're not on soul point. But let's have a look at this one started, because again, it was just a good charm and RNG just overstepped their boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, Xiaohu, you can see the amount of damage is getting off, but they're investing so much to get Kaiwing, as he's able to get into the backline there as well, which
Ming's not there.
We've already kind of said is like a major focal point here if this Akali does get access to Gala. And for Ming, I mean, as you say, he wasn't there to protect Gala, so they end up getting some kills back.
Yeah, the taunt is so powerful at stopping things like the Viego, the Akali from getting on top of you. Can you just keep that little bit of distance there for the side of RNG? And PSG not to be outdone just yet. They are still 10,000 gold down. An inhibitor is still waiting to respawn. Only got about a minute or so left on that one, but with Baron on the pitch and you've got a Kalista, that's your next objective.
Yeah, but again, this could be moments where RNG are just trying to take off more than they can chew. Bay gets into the middle, as he gets into the middle, Kalista with this collector now could do work.
Going to try and make this one work. The charm does not land, but to keep Juhan away from the pit, it's going to be a Rend versus a Smite. So a lot of damage you got to favor. Maybe 80-20 towards RNG. The Shadow Surge comes out, goes completely wide. There's the Paranoia as they maybe look for the fight. They're going to try and jump on top of this. It's going to be the Flash. Not quite able to make it. The Rend comes in good. They kill down the Viego as well. Gala picks up 1 kill off the back of this. The Gwen is dead. Unified has fallen. Double kill for Gala. And now with the Baron, you got to feel like it's all a formality.
The minion waves are there. Xiaohu's chasing PSG into the top side as the rest of them go to move in towards this mid lane.
Yeah, they're just going to keep them from resetting, and they're going to see Wade with the flash as well, saying, look, we're going to make sure you just can't get back to base. You're going to sit on this HP. You just can't go home. Where are you supposed to go from this one? There's a TP from Xiaohu, and you got to feel like with Gala, Ming, and Wei, that is going to be the game. As I say that, though, the inhibitor is about to respawn now. So they do knock down the Nexus turrets, finally get the second kill onto the inhibitor, and they're going to have to reset.
This is kind of hilarious.
This is very, very LPL. Yeah. We've seen this quite a few times in our regular split. Where one team is going to win. When, I cannot tell you, but they will win. I'm very happy to be wrong about that, by the way, but it just feels like this is an inevitability at this point.
I mean, look, for 13,000 gold up, they're still getting dragons, they're still in control. It's not like you have major damage dealers on PSG Talon getting like a ton of kills, and even then you've still got the opportunity, as you said, to fall back. Like third dragon for them in 3 minutes time. Baron is still in their favor. Alzi getting acquainted with Xiaohu in this top side as he starts to shove in, and the rest of RNG are just establishing control in PSG Talon's job.
Yeah, well, the inhibitor's down in mid lane, top lane being pushed in there, as you mentioned, by Xiaohu. As Ming thinks that Juhan is around, and Juhan now realizes he's been compromised. The mission's over, you need to get back to base, and now Bing is going to go forward and try and catch Unified out. They get on top of him, the Eagles cleanse, gets his ultimate out as well. We're going to see the Fates call to bring back Ming as Unified has finally fallen. Now they can really turn back this fight. The Gwen is just keeping everyone away. Bay shall be kept at bay as he finally goes down. You can see Bing just having a bit of fun, and they will finally get themselves the win. It was a little scrappy towards the end, but honestly, outside of that, that was terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw enough at the... well, we kind of went through the major kitchen appliances, and then we got into, like, the bedroom, and then it was just like, here's, like, the spare room. Yeah, there was a wardrobe that came in, then the shoes started flying, and eventually the kitchen sink came out, and that eventually busted through PSG Talon's front door.
I mean, yeah, that was... RNG having a little bit of fun towards the end of it. You can imagine they kind of wanted just to end the game. They saw the quickest game in sight, but yeah, other than that, I was good.
Yeah. I mean, look, RNG, with the amount of gold that they'd accumulated, they had a fairly sizable house to keep throwing stuff at PSG Talon.